Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Mindset Explosion, season number 4 and episode number 10. And today, I'm joined by the lovely Leanne Ewart-Davies. And I've just been on the edge of my seat. I've only just properly met you, Leanne. And oh my gosh, just before we came on live, I'm really looking forward to tonight's chat. So it's a mindset wake up, and you've kind of just explained to me a little bit where times you woke up. And I gotta say, I'm shocked because oh my gosh, the content you put out in mindset is amazing. And you're not coached yet, but you are studying. You got some great ideas for the future. But every time I've seen something, oh my god, that's amazing! What a great thought process. And you also, Leanne, don't mind me saying, when we were talking out, you radiate such great energy, such passion as well, and you know what you're talking about. And I know you've had your ups and your downs. So yeah, I feel that whoever's watching tonight, please share. If you've got any questions, then drop a comment in. But I feel you're going to get loads just from this chat that we're about to have. So welcome. So mindset, you're very good on your social media. I know it's just like your personal page, but you're putting a lot of content out. What does mindset mean for you? And
so it's how we view the world. It basically determines how we experience things on an emotional level. Which basically obviously ends up affecting our mental well-being. So to me, it's all about the perceptions, the self-perceptions and the beliefs that we've acquired over the years, and how that affects how we view everything, the world around us. That is what mindset is to me. Yeah.
and I know we just spoke off air, but sometimes not with everyone, but I do feel sometimes a few people will go through things in life, and just hearing your story just now, I feel you're one of these people that unfortunately you've had things have happened, but you kind of, I'm not a victim. No way. I'm gonna turn this around, and this is I got a choice. And I do feel sometimes people have been designed, like maybe sound very nice, but you had to go through that experience, because I do feel you got such an important. You have got a great mindset. And I'm sure it still has ups and downs, same as everyone, right? But
yeah, it's a work in progress. Nothing stays. You can't just sort of wake up one day and go, do you know what? I'm going to have a positive mindset, and that be the end of it. So yeah, even I have to work on it. I have those niggly thoughts creep in sometimes. Which is why I always look for the silver lining. And always tell myself, where there's a will, there's a way as well. I love my little sayings.
It's like temptation. So I think the more you say those things, then that it does get you through stuff. I think you said that this is going to pass. And where there is a will, there's always an answer to the if there's a problem, it can be solved. But otherwise, if we tell the other thing, then
well, that's the thing. If you tell yourself like, this is the end, this is this me now, or it's like when you get stuck in a certain way of thinking, and it's not benefiting you, and it's sort of overwhelming you and just making you really unhappy, sad, angry, frustrated, you can choose to stay in that. I mean, people don't realize, I think, is the problem, they have a choice. And all the time they stay in it, they're allowing themselves to stay in that. Nobody else is going to bring them out of that. You've got to do it for yourself. So if you want to feel better, if you want to be better, you really need to acknowledge, like, you've got to do something for yourself, and you've got to make the changes that you can. Obviously, we have everything we need within us, and so it's just sort of tapping into that and understanding that, and then acting upon it. Stop focusing on all the things around you that you can't change, and focus on the things that you can change, within you.
Yeah, definitely. I noticed in one of your posts you mentioned about your inner chimp. So that's one of my favorite books, is The Chimp.
Yeah.
I was quoting that, but I think I was talking about a Clubhouse the other day, but it was one of those books that had it's such an important book for me, and there's many out there. But I guess, I mean, is that what kind of things do you use on that terms? I mean, I know you're studying at the moment, but
yeah. So I link that to the limbic system, the part of our brain where the chimp obviously lives. And I first came across this in my degree, in my studies around criminology and forensic studies, psychology and stuff like this, because that's the part of the brain that controls certain innate behaviors, primal instincts and urges and stuff like that. So when I was studying serial sexual offenders, that's when it sort of propped up, and they done certain studies at that point in time that suggested there was anomalies in that area, which is why they had this aggressive and sort of sexual overlap, which caused certain behavior, basically. So that book sort of appealed to me because I wanted to learn sort of a different aspect to it, and it all linked in just what I've been learning about recently as well. So that it was interesting, and people don't realise, because obviously not everyone has read that book, so people don't realise what the inner chimp is. So I did get some interesting messages as a result of doing that post. But, I obviously linked it to living a healthy lifestyle, mental, the emotional well-being. If we exercise, meditate, mindfulness and all the rest, then we will be happier in ourselves, and our well-being will be better for it. So yeah, that's my sort of my area, like with the chimp, and it's the negative self-talk as well. That was the other thing. We all have that annoying, niggly voice in the back of our head that tells us things sometimes, and sometimes we act upon it and sometimes we don't. But even when we don't act upon it, it can still affect our mindset, and our well-being, because it's basically putting us down and it's being completely irrational. So
yeah, definitely. And we've all been there, I guess. Now, I guess at some point, well, I know obviously listening to what you said before we came on live, and I was on the edge of my seat. And you give, you're smiling now, and you give this air of happiness, and you've obviously worked very hard to get this. But there's been times in life where you could have gone a different route.
oh god, yeah, numerous occasions. So I mean, I laugh about it now, and it is, I have no qualms with it at all, towards my parents. But yeah, we did have an unconventional upbringing, especially early on. They had drug and alcohol issues going on, and we basically travelled the whole country, going from one festival to another. Spent a lot of time at Glastonbury. We even went to a few underground raves and stuff before I was probably even 2 years old. But it is what it is. But then my parents split when I was around 5 years old, and we moved back my mum moved back to the countryside from London, which is where I was born. And we sort of had more of a stable, upbringing from that point onwards. However, my mum basically sort of like came off the drugs and then replaced the drugs with alcohol. And that sort of brought a load more issues with it down the line later on. She suffered with, mental health issues and things like that, which is why I'm so passionate about helping people, and why I have a lot of the understanding that I do, because, I experienced it with my mum. But yes, unfortunately, there was a time in my early teens when there was domestic violence towards me, and that was quite difficult, because my mum's not a bad person, and she's lovely when she's sober. But unfortunately, with everything that she was experiencing and going through at that point in time, when she was on antidepressants and she turned to drink, she did become violent towards me, which, it's a very confusing situation as a young teenager to try and get your head around why that's happening to you. you know, and I remembered I did think to myself, why me? You know, and those sort of thoughts. But it soon sort of turned around, and I realized that it is what it, you know, it is what it is. I had to sort of accept the situation and the reality of it. I knew it wouldn't be forever. I knew there would be a time that would come where I would move out and I wouldn't have to be subjected to that anymore. But it also gave me this sort of anti-victim mentality where I refused to see myself as a victim, and I didn't want to be seen as a victim. So I almost sort of, it was like a challenge, you know, like, try me. You're never going to break me. Sort of attitude, I suppose. But yeah, so that was one, you know, and I moved out at the age of 15. And you know, just to say, I did obviously make some mistakes myself here and there throughout my teenage years, but another story. But yeah, no, and I moved out at the age of 15, and had to, you know, sort of fend for myself, find a place to live, and all of that. I also helped my sister when she got to a certain age, and after I moved out, unfortunately, she started to experience a few things. So I got her out of the house straight away, and got her set up. She lived with me for a bit, and then I sorted out a sort of house share flat stuff for her and whatnot. But yeah, so I know there was a couple of my friends who had similar sort of issues and things, and they definitely went down the wrong, you know, not the wrong road, but they went down a different path, and became quite destructive with their behaviour, and they turned to drink and drugs as well. Whereas I didn't, you know, I sort of went down the studying route. Instead, once I moved out, I put myself back into education. I studied A levels in law, psychology, and media studies. And then I went on to do a access course in social work and social sciences, which then led me on to university, where I done criminology and forensic studies. And that was really empowering, you know, for me to do that for myself. Because my situation, like with the childhood trauma and things like that, it did create a lot of self-doubt and, you know, all of that horrible, like, inner stuff, you know, affected my confidence and everything. But I just realized that if I wanted something, it was down to me to do. Nobody else was going to do it for me, so I had to do it, and I did. And that was a big sort of like, wow, I am capable. I'm more than capable of doing this if I put my mind to it, you know. And that was the big sort of like, you can achieve anything if you put your mind to it moment.
Yeah, I you know, obviously well done. It's a sad story, but a happy ending.
Yeah, I mean, I have a great relationship with my mum now. So, like, despite everything, you know, it's not all been smooth sailing. You know, we've had our rocky patches, and moments, and there's been times, you know, where I've not had necessarily a great relationship with her for my own, you know, well-being. I've had to sort of put in boundaries, and things like that, just because I was aware of the effect it was having on me and my well-being. Which is another one, you know, it's really important to have healthy boundaries, for yourself. But yeah, no, we get on really well. You know, she has a part to play in my children's life now, and it's good. You know, I help her on a daily basis, and last year, I mean, in the last sort of 6 months, probably more so than ever, I've really sort of actually had to sort of pull my finger out and help her even more, because we lost my granddad, so her dad, in the summer. And obviously it was lockdown, so we didn't get to see much of him beforehand. And he got diagnosed with cancer within lockdown, and then passed, unfortunately, within like 2 months of being diagnosed with cancer. So it was a bit of a shock. You know, none of us were really expecting it to happen like that, for it to be that quick, which was, you know, it was difficult, especially for my mum. She had a lot of like stuff going on with her relationship with her dad. She absolutely loved, you know, and they loved each other to bits, but there was obviously a lot of guilt and things for things that she'd put him through. So she took it really badly. So I've really had to sort of help her with that. Well, not had to, but I've wanted to. Yeah. And she, you know, she's grateful. She's she has her own guilt, and she'll have, she has to deal with that. And there's only so much I can help her with that. But, it's not, the experiences haven't been, all great and rosy, but we have had some, great times. And my whole childhood wasn't bad, as, it was just certain aspects of it that unfortunately were a bit traumatic. But yeah, I don't look back and think I had the worst childhood, or anything like that. So, and like I say, I have a good relationship with her now, and I just have my boundaries and stuff that I'm still willing to be there for her and help her through her, her mental health issues, and challenges that she faces.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I mean, obviously, a lot of that when you're younger, and you mentioned before we came on live that going into the future. I mean, listen to what you just said. I think there's so many lessons there, and that you've taken ownership for your own life, and I think the boundaries is so important. And it can be. I know that sometimes that can be difficult with family, but they are important because it's basically you're saying, I'm in control here.
Yeah.
Not in a control freak sort of way. Obviously, it's just that I'm in control. I make decisions, and even when you said that you're choosing to help, it's that's your choice. You don't feel
Yeah.
an obligation to do it. It's just that's what you want to do. And the past is gone, and it's now. But yeah, and some, I guess there's some lessons that are for your mom. You can help her through it through choice, right?
Yeah, and that's, there's certain things, I explain things to her, so with the boundaries that I've put in place, they are as much for me as they are for her as well, in order to keep our relationship as well. I do it because obviously she's my mom, I love her, and I do want a relationship with her. And so, yeah, there's probably a bit of selfish reasons in there too.
People say selfish. I I don't always think it is. It can. I know what you mean, though, because there's things that I've had to do, and I think, well, that feels selfish. And sometimes you get told you're selfish, and then I think, but actually, this is going to be bad. Like you said, this is better for everyone because otherwise it can become toxic, and we get caught. Our chimp's still going to play up. I had it
Yeah,
today. He was just playing up, and it caused mine to play up. So we would just sort of
exactly.
yeah,
It is, and it's that whole, if I like to resolve things.
yeah,
I like to resolve problems. I don't like confrontation. And people often misunderstand, where I'm coming from with it. It's just I like to air things, like let's just get it out there, deal with it, and then we can move past it. Like, it does bug me a little bit when people bottle things up, and don't tell me if they're annoyed with me or, or something. I'm like, just tell me.
I know you can't do anything otherwise, right? If there's anything to be done.
Exactly, and everyone feels better for it afterwards. Whether they look like whether they admit it to me or not, they do. So, and it's just healthy. It's healthy to be that way. But yeah, so I'm all about ironing out those little niggly quirks in relationships.
Yeah, but I think communication is it's a two-way thing, and if you don't know what's wrong, you can't do much about it. You can't expect anyone to change, right?
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, you may not realize, that, on something. But I agree. I think I'd rather resolve something, win-win. Otherwise, just someone. Again, I'm referring back to that chimp paradox. And I know we're talking about relationships now, but there's always going to be something. I can live with that, but it's annoying. But I can live with it. But if there's that one thing that you can't live with, it's straight away. You might as well have the best meal in the whole wide world, and you've got poison on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
True, isn't it?
It is. It really is. It's like so I when I was pregnant with my first child, my daughter, the relationship with my mum wasn't great at all. And I got to the point where I was like, no, I've just had enough, I don't need this in my life. I'm starting my own family, and so although I was really happy at that point in time because I was, starting a family of my own, and I've always had that maternal instinct, so I was really happy about this. But it also made me sad because somebody who really should have been a massive part of all of that and in my life wasn't in my life, because I chose, I was happy with that situation at the time, but it still had an effect on me, whether I like to admit it or not, sort of thing. So it was still there, and so that's why, eventually I just sort of went, no, this has got to get sorted, because I need her in my life. I want her in my life. And as much as I tell myself otherwise, that's not the case. It's better all round if we just try and sort this out.
Yeah. Well, you had to try it, right? Then live life and then think, regretting that you didn't do anything. I think that's amazing, really, because sometimes things like that, those situations aren't easy. It's not easy to do that, but I guess it's taken a bit of time. But you've got to where you are.
Yeah, and it's still a rocky road at times,
That's life.
It is what it is. Yeah. And we are all happy, as a result of things being resolved, and because it wasn't just affecting me, it was also affecting my other siblings in some way or another, the other family members. So, it was looking at the bigger picture of it all as well, really. And yeah, it also allowed me to heal properly, in certain respects. So sort of going back to the victim mentality, my mum always did adopt a victim mentality, and she didn't have it smooth, sailing. She had issues and stuff that she experienced through her life. But she very much sort of adopted that mentality, which was, I think, another sort of drive, motivation for us kids not to have that. Everyone says nobody wants to be like their parents, and so that was very much in our mindset, in mine and my siblings. It was we were not going to be like our parents. So yeah, I think it's important to just sort of realize that you've got to get yourself out of things. And I think it's okay to acknowledge you've been a victim in something, if you've experienced something where you were a victim. I think I'm not saying don't acknowledge that you were a victim, that's not what I'm saying. It's more about the mentality behind it. And if you tell yourself, that talk inside your head, if you tell yourself you're a victim and you're this, or that you brought it on yourself, or all these things that come with it, you will allow yourself to get stuck in that place. And the longer you're there, the harder it is to come out of. And so you just need to challenge your way of thinking and realize that it's only you have the power. It's only you that can change that. And some people get that. They don't need to sort of experience hardships or anything like that in order to sort of see it. But I find a lot of people, they normally experience something, an event happens, and then that's when that light bulb just sort of goes, in their head, and they change their mindsets.
Yeah.
But it is so important to have a certain mindset just in everyday life. Roll with the punches.
Would you say you surround yourself with quite like-minded people in one way or another with that, to help with that? I noticed you've done a couple of rooms, say, on Clubhouse. There at a time I haven't been able to get in, sorry, Leanne, but I'd seen Rosalind Palmer, so I interviewed her, I think, last year. But so you seem to be around somehow, one way, people that are thinking like you, and I guess that's you're kind of feeding off each other, would you say?
That's only in recent months, really, that I've opened up my social media to the wider public and sort of made some more connections and stuff like that. I made a conscious decision last year to sort of focus on myself again, my career and things like that, and sort of follow my dreams. I just put it on the back burner for so long, and obviously, like I said, I had a few things happen last year, all the start of lockdown, the severe allergic reaction, which led me to hospital. And yeah, I was on quite a lot of medication for that. I had my my eyesight checked and nearly went into my throat and stuff. So it's quite a scary situation. And then obviously my granddad passing on my daughter's birthday, and then the funeral on my birthday. And then I initiated separation with my husband was August time. So all of that sort of led up to me going, do you know what? I need to make some changes. I need to focus on my life, you know, and what I'm going to do with it. So I sort of had a bit more of a purpose, which definitely helps with mindset when you've got a purpose. And that's when I started opening up my social media and started building something for myself, a platform. But when I finished my studies and stuff like that, and just getting myself out there, because I did want to meet more people that had the same sort of way of thinking as me, or that could challenge my way of thinking, and I could learn from that. So yeah, it was a bit of, it's been an eye opener. I mean, some of the people I've connected with, I'm so thankful. You know, some of them are just so amazing, and they bring so much growth to me. You know, and I learn from them and what they have to say, which I love. I love hearing people's opinions on things and their perspective, and their stories and things. You know, it's really interesting. But up until that point, I had a few people around me that had the same sort of like, they were into sort of like law of attraction. Like my best friend, she introduced me to a lot of different theories and laws and stuff like that, and my dad as well. But there was very few, like there wasn't many. So, and I mean, half of the people like that I sort of see like on a day-to-day basis sort of thing, probably think I'm crazy, you know, I've gone spiritual and stuff like that, you know, but it is what it is. But now I have got a network of people, of like-minded people around me, which is great, and it's nice to interact with them and stuff, even if it is through social media.
What I mean, what I'm saying, considering everything you just said that's happened last year and over, I've not seen anything that's a bit, you know, oh, woe is me. You might, I think, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, but got to do a bit of research this morning. I think it's all very positive. I think it has been positive. And someone else posted there about being woo-woo or anything like that. I think it's part of a thing that, like for me, I need it a little bit. I didn't realize, you know, how much on that side of things. I think we need a bit of, not crazy, but that, hey, that's who I am. But when, I mean, I've mentioned Clubhouse, and I've got quite a lot out of that in the last, you know, however many weeks it's been, you know, since I got in, and just being around that, I feel I absorb it. Like for me, I try and get in as, you know, when I can, and I don't want it to become my life too much, because I know it can take over. But I feel, yeah, once you expand that network as well, more you feed off it, and then you're able to give. But I feel you've got so much to give as well. You've got.
I feel like I do as well.
It's been a few years' time you're not up on some stage or whatever it is you decide to do. I just feel you're very switched on, and I can see you working with youth. As you know, you want to work with youths and mental health. I can see how passionate you are about it, and I think you've got, you know, those things that have happened. It's giving you, you know, the extra tools, and I think you were the right person. Sadly, the right person to go for it, to be able to deal with it. And now, hey, you got more empathy with those people, right? That might be going similar situations.
No, yeah, I completely agree. You know, I acknowledge that people have gone through similar things, same things, worse things, and you know they've not responded in the same way. So you know, I give myself a pat on the back for that, you know. But yeah, it definitely has. Like, I do want to help youths because I feel like so many of them, they go down the road that they think is sort of paid for them. Do you know what I mean? They just think, oh, this is my life, so I might as well just follow suit, sort of thing. And that's no fault of their own. They're just not really. They don't know how to change their way of thinking, or they don't know they can do things like change patterns of behaviour, you know, and things like that. So I do want to help other children and teenagers, you know, overcome the obstacles that they face and their environments and stuff like that. And know that they can be successful. They can be whatever that, you know, whatever success is to them, you know. if they want it, they can do it, you know, and I would love to be able to help them do that and achieve that. So I think there's a lot that needs to change within the education system as well, but that's another story. Yeah.
I agree. You mentioned purpose, and you're right. I think, and my purpose has redefined quite a lot. I would say over the years, and probably again now more so a little bit in these last few months. But do you feel like, in terms of purpose and maybe need, is like I feel I got a need to give somehow. I need to be able to contribute somehow, even if it's just through making a video or a podcast or whatever. But real, it's a big need of mine. I feel. Is that something similar or?
Yeah, no, definitely. I do feel like I need to help people. I do really want to help people, but I do think I can help make a difference in people's lives, you know, and even already, like in the short amount of time that I've been, like I said, since I've opened my Facebook, my social media platforms up, the amount of messages I get from people is it's mind blowing actually to me, but you know, and it's so lovely to hear what some of them have to say. You know, they're so thankful, and the way they tell me that I've made an impact on them and their lives, you know, or that just how, you know, I'm a part of their day-to-day life now, you know, and it's just it's nice. And so yeah, I feel like I need to help people because I'm capable of doing that. So yeah, that's definitely like one of my purposes. Obviously my children are another. They give me lots of purpose.
But that's, and I think a lot of my, since becoming a parent myself, and like they've become part of that purpose, right? In a lot of the things I'm doing it's about me having, from my point of view, is I want time with my boys. You know, they live with them. You know, they're here always coming on a Friday. They either go back Saturday or Sunday. My youngest is kind of half living with me a little bit more at the moment. But and even tonight, talking to their mum and her husband, and you know what, we needed to come together and work out something for the kids, and how you know the rules, you know, because we were starting to feel a bit played off by our youngest, for example. So the purpose was like, one again, my purpose is my children, definitely, and time with them whilst I can, whilst they're young enough to have time with, because at some point they want to do their own thing. And then in a given sense as well, it changes. I think life changes when we become an adult. It changes again when we become parents, and probably change again when we become grandparents one day.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think because that's why it's important, you know, that people seek fulfillment, you know, because when people say they just want to be happy, well, a lot of the time they don't really know what happiness is to them. And happiness to me is a choice. You know, you can choose to be happy, but that won't really give you that purpose. And if you've got purpose, that will make you live, like that will make you feel more fulfilled.
Yeah.
And content, which then will make you happy too, because you feel more fulfilled, you know. So it all sort of links in, doesn't it? Purpose, and it changes as well, like you say.
It does change, and I feel quite, again, it's my opinion, but I've you know, when I've had the lows, and you know, there's not every day is amazing, and you know, sunshine and rainbows, but I kind of learned a little bit like yourself. You say, you know, this is going to pass, and the same, and I kind of think, you know what, I need to go through that part. I need this down day today, and then I'm grateful. Then the next day, and then the next day is like, okay, right. I get a sudden burst of energy. So it's just, I treat it like, for me, if I'm having, say, more of a mentally down day, it's, I needed to rest today, and I don't care. I'm not working. I'm not doing this. If obviously children with me is different, but you know, their time is important, and I've just learned to not. I'm gonna feel guilty about it. I'll have a day off.
Well, this is exactly. I'm so with you on that. You know, if I listen to my body, you know, and some days my energy levels just aren't there, you know, and there's obviously a reason for that. but you can almost sort of like put yourself down, can't you? Get annoyed with yourself because you haven't, you know, achieved things you wanted to achieve that day because you just weren't feeling like it. You know, and that's okay. You know, we're all allowed to give ourselves a day or two, you know, but it's also important to bring yourself out of it, you know, and then, you know, start kicking butt again.
Well, I think like to-do list and goals, you know, is to do this isn't going anywhere. So if you're having a down day, I guess I'm gonna have to come back to that one. And the goals, of things we're working towards, they're not going anywhere unless we consciously say, "No, I'm not doing it ever again." For me, no way. I have to. I have to feel. Do you need a challenge? I gotta cut out my comfort zone today.
Yeah, I do love a challenge. I like to put myself through the ringer, that's for sure. But yeah, no, it helps. The challenges definitely are healthy. I think, but maybe
Yeah,
that's my mindset. So.
yeah, I guess everyone's different as well, but I feel, again, maybe it's part of my purpose. You know, family, my children, time with them, giving, but also I need to feel like I'm growing, and I need to be. I've a little bit like yourself. More recently, I've put myself into different networks now, so I feel like it's almost like I'm a little kid at school again, and I'm looking at the big kids and. So that, oh wow, that's nice. I like that. I want some of that energy and, you know, that good vibe. And again, it's about controlling those environments, isn't it? So
It's funny you say that because I definitely have felt like that recently. Because I have met some amazing people, you know, through social media. And some of them I'm just like, wow, you've achieved so much. Like, I think that's amazing. So it's like not like starstruck, but like you get a bit like, oh, like it's that comparison thing again, isn't it? Like you always you know, compare yourself, or you don't always, but some people have the tendency to compare themselves. And it can go one of two ways, can't it? You can either feel superior or you can feel inferior. And it's learning just not to do that.
it sounds like all that you haven't prepared. It's like it sounds like you've met people and they've quite inspired you to want to. Would you say?
Yeah, no, definitely. I would say that was quite accurate. I have so I'm part of this group on Facebook, the Modern Women Group, run by Fidel Bohill, and it's got some amazing women in there. Some of them, you know, and their stories are so inspirational. That given like my background with my mum, it made me very cautious of women. And it created a lot of trust issues and things like that. So I'd done certain things running up to this, like I joined, started playing netball again, which I got to meet new women, you know, a bunch of women, changed my opinion and views around it, sort of thing. But then this group of women, they were just so welcoming. They're there to support you on anything, you know. You can have a laugh with them. But if you've got something, you know, quite serious going on and you need some advice, they are always there providing it for you. And it is just amazing. And some of them, honestly, are so inspirational that even now it's just like, wow, you're so amazing. So yeah, it's lovely. I would definitely recommend if you're a woman and watching, like join that group.
In the comments, could you put the link? Because you know, afterwards, would you mind just putting the link?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's
There's
always nice.
also the Modern Man Club as well.
All right, it's getting time.
Vegan. I've said they can have a bit of a later night tonight. Obviously, school's not happening at the moment. Yeah, so there's also the Modern Man Club. So he runs, yeah, one for men and one for women. So, and they are great, you know, points of support and advice and things like that. So I always try and recommend and steer people in that direction because I think it is amazing what he's done there. So just, you know, women helping women, men helping men, and it is so needed, you know, in this day and age with everything that's going on, especially.
I agree. One of my favorite sayings is the rising tide raises all ships. So we're all lifting ourselves up together. And but also don't have anyone drilling holes in your boat.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, you're always going to get those negative Nellies.
Okay, so.
I do try and avoid those negative Nellies. I definitely have had to remove some from my life, and just remove my focus from them as well, and not allow them to take my energy. Again, another thing, mindset and knowing you have control over certain things. And your focus and your attention is another one of those things. You choose where that goes. And you're not being selfish by not giving certain people your time. That's called self-love.
Yeah, and if you haven't worked on yourself, you can't give them all of you anyway. I've been there, and again, because I think I like to give and like to help, and I put myself, and it's my own fault. I can't. Yes, other people may have certain responsibility for it, but I just keep it, and it gets to a point of think, you know what? No, this is no good. I can't remember. I seen some post somewhere. It was something.
You end up sort of losing yourself, don't you? You lose a bit of yourself. Yeah. So I touched on this on a live I done the other week, because that's exactly how I felt. I was I didn't have an unhappy life. There was just certain things that obviously weren't working for me, and I wasn't being fulfilled. And I was literally providing everyone around me with love, support, and doing everything for everyone, sort of thing, and just putting myself on the back burner. I didn't really do anything for myself. I didn't take time out for myself. And eventually it just grates away at you. And you suddenly sort of get to a point where you're like, who am I? Like, is this me now? Like, this isn't me. And people, I think, a lot of the time perceive that as being selfish, especially as a parent, to do that, to go, oh, actually, I'm going to put myself first. People completely misunderstand that. And that's, down to a lot of different reasons, media, societal thing, lots of stuff. But it happens, you can get made to feel bad for going, actually, I need just some time out, away from the kids, away from everyone, just to do something for me. And have that regular time to do that. And I think it's sad that people feel like that, feel like they can't. And sometimes it's not even like what other people are saying to them or making them feel, it's just how they feel because of how they've been conditioned to think, So when I say about, being made to feel like that, I'm referring to yourself making you feel like that as well, not just the people around you. So that's another thing that I think is really important, to love ourselves, have that me time. One of my dear mummy friends recently, she's been following me on Facebook and stuff, and I've had a few conversations with her. She's not had the easiest of times. She's had difficult upbringing experiences, and then with her partner and father of her children as well. But she told me the other day, after reading some of my posts and following me for a while, she was like, I literally told him, I'm having every other weekend, I'm going to have a day where I'm just going to do something for me, where I don't have any children. And I was like, I literally could have cried. I was like, good for you. You should. Because again, she was a classic case of doing everything for everyone, running around, and just burning herself down to the ground. But feeling like she couldn't take that time out for herself. And so to hear her say that, I was like, yeah, you go, girl.
I agree. We do need time for ourselves. Time with children, time with relationship, all those things, and sometimes they won't always fit the way someone else wants it, but that's someone else's problem, in sense that
exactly.
you don't work that one out yourself. This is better. It does get seen as selfish, but I don't know. It's not. And I think if you can get on this, if you can work on the same wavelength with people with it, then just, I think it goes back to, I don't know if you've read the 7 Habits Highly Effective People, but it's about, you've got to work on the inside out about you. You got to be individual, and only then can we come interdependent and work, work as a team in any situation, whether it be career, work, whatever, all these things. And
be authentic. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, it's just someone else's lesson, isn't it? And even me, there's times when it's not I want to be miserable. I don't want to talk to people. I need to be on my own. I just need to absolute silence, and that's that. And
I honestly, there's some days I'm just like, just leave me alone. Like, don't message me. I can't want to talk to you. Like, just no. And I used to always have that feeling of obligation, like I had to reply to every message and give everyone every second of my time. Because now with all the phones and technology and stuff, it's like, well, I've seen you've read that message, so why have you not replied to it? Or like, I tried to call you, why didn't you answer? Oh my good God. When people ask me if I have a house phone, I'm like, I'm not getting another phone. Another way of people to try and get hold of me.
Yeah. All hours you're online at 3 a.m. Oh my God. Anyway, I want to finish up, so thank you so much, Leanne. So I know your children are young, so I appreciate you coming on now. I've seen you. I think I mentioned you. I've seen you doing a couple of rooms on Clubhouse. Is that right? Is that a regular thing you got?
So every Thursday at 4 p.m. Talking all things resilience. There's a great bunch of speakers, seeing myself included. It's always interesting. It's fun. We share, some inspirational personal stories, but it's also just an open discussion. And obviously, like, resilience is so important for everyone. Everyone needs to be resilient, especially lockdown has taught us that. Yeah, exactly. So it's definitely worth. If you're in Clubhouse already, come check me and the gang out. Like I say, every Thursday at 4 p.m. The Resilience Room, I think it's called. So you'll be able to find me, or you'll be able to find it on Facebook as well. We often share stuff running up to it as well. So, and I will be talking a bit more about resilience and mindset as well going forward. So I like to keep things varied, but I feel like I've opened up a certain area around the deep stuff and thought awareness and feelings and emotions and stuff. So now I need to come back out onto make it more positive again with resilience and mindset. So
I've got about 6 invites if anyone needs them, so just drop us a message from Clubhouse.
Yes, I've got a few as well. I'm terrible. I keep I need to start letting more people in.
And in terms of, you mentioned done a live, so just to finish up, do you do a regular live, or are they quite sporadic?
I'm gonna aim to do one a week. So I will be jumping on actually tomorrow and doing a live, my Muggy Monday live. It's linked to a little a project, side project that I'm doing with a company. So I'm doing something tomorrow on Facebook. But I won't say no more.
Okay. We got to follow Leanne, and obviously get updates for the things that you're doing on Clubhouse. Leanne, it's been an absolute pleasure. I could talk for ages, but I appreciate you, poor children. It's been very good. Thank you so much for coming on, and please come back again. I'd love to have you on, and I would love to see you doing more lives and podcasting. Just so much good luck for the future, whatever you're doing. I know you will smash it, and it'd be interesting to see where you are a year from now. I think great things for you this year. I just can see it.
I've got that drive. It's happening. So watch this space.
Well done with everything. Thank you
so
everyone.
much, Matt. It's been great talking to you.
Pleasure. Thank you everyone watching. I'm back next week. I've got another mindset guy coming in, so should be interesting. But of course, if you've got any questions, if you want to contact, is it okay? Can they message you, Leanne? Is that okay? Perfect.
That's fine. Yeah, find me on Facebook or Instagram. See Leanne Ewart-Davies.
Yeah, easy.
I think they're starting to get tired and irritable now.
All right, well, peace, love, bye-bye.
Bye.